Oh, I'm hearing the drinker destroyed this. Tore it apart. Well, this should be fun. It's always fun when he doesn't like a movie. It's always more fun.
Final Reckoning is a triumphant return to form for the Mission Impossible franchise, a superbly written and brilliantly directed action thriller with some of the best storytelling I've ever seen, and a glorious send-off for one of the most beloved action heroes in Hollywood history. That is what I wish I could be telling you right now, but unfortunately, that would be a lie. The unpleasant truth here is that Final Reckoning is a real mess of a movie, with a bloated and fragmented storyline that tries to juggle way too many plot devices, weighed down by stodgy exposition dumps that go on forever, and mostly reiterate stuff that we already know, and featuring...
They do that. There's definitely sections of round table exposition or everybody saying something, explaining the whole thing.
Some of the most confusing and nonsensical editing choices in the whole franchise. And it's such a frustrating disappointment because most of this film's problems are self-inflicted and could have been easily avoided. Now, I know it's just open, so I'm going to do my best to avoid spoilers with this one. I'll give a brief outline of the plot, but I'm not going to tell you where it's all leading or how it ends. But if you really don't want to know anything that happens in this story, then look away now or something.
It's funny, there's a certain part in the movie where he's running where I'm like, I know you could have took a car. I've seen points in other movies, Mission Impossible movies, where it felt like he didn't have a choice but to run because he might have been running over a roof or between connecting buildings or something like that. But this one, I was like, okay, you're running. I know you could have found a car or a truck.
You have been warned. So the movie opens a few months after the events of Dead Reckoning. The AI known as the Entity is now wreaking havoc across the world, spreading disinformation and stoking conflicts and civil unrest. Even worse, it's trying to hack its way into the defense systems of all the world's major powers to take control of their nuclear arsenals and start World War III. Why? Don't know. It just wants to blow up the world because it's evil, I guess. The only chance of stopping it now lies with Ethan Hunt, who's managed to obtain the key to the plot device locked away inside the nuclear sub from Dead Reckoning. The only problem is that Gabriel wants the plot device for himself so that he can take control of the Entity, so he captures Ethan and forces him to retrieve it. On the other hand, the Entity wants access to another plot device where it can lock itself away and ride out the coming nuclear apocalypse. And I guess just spend the rest of eternity chilling out in a bunker. I don't fucking know.
The whole crystal snatch was pretty cool the way they did that. Anyone that saw the movie knows what I'm talking about.
Well, Luther is working on another plot device that will infect the Entity with a virus and stop it from launching the nukes, but he needs the plot device from the sub to make it work. So the plan is for Ethan to find the sub, retrieve the sunken plot device, and combine it with Luther's plot device to poison the Entity and drive it into the other plot device, where they can trap it inside yet another plot device that Luther also constructed, but only if they disconnect it at the exact millisecond that it goes in. So if you're spotting a theme here, then congratulations, because it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that this script consists of about 80% contrived plot devices that pop up whenever they're needed. And that's not even counting the stuff that's just blatantly retconned from previous movies. Like, nobody is believing that the rabbit's foot from Mission Impossible 3 was a fucking AI. There's just so much convoluted bullshit going on in this film that it actually becomes hard to keep track of after a while. And the thing is, I think the writers realised this too, because every 10 minutes or so, all the major characters gather around for another big exposition dump where they basically explain everything that's going on and everything that each person has to do to make their plan work.
I was sitting in the movie and I literally thought this to myself, and I was going to say something about it in my review. There's actually been a couple of the movies where I was sitting there thinking to myself, am I the only one sitting here thinking like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? There's like a couple of times in a few of the Mission Impossible movies where I'm like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not too many movies where I feel like I need to rewind something. You know what I'm saying? But this was one of them.
It's clunky and annoying, it kills the pace, and it's one of the reasons why this movie is close to 3 hours long. And damn man, you definitely feel it after a while. The entity itself is a weak as fuck idea for a villain. Its motivations and ultimate plan are poorly defined. There's no explanation for what it intends to do if it actually wins, and there's like one scene where it communicates directly with Ethan, but then it just becomes this vague threat in the background that's supposedly super intelligent, but somehow everyone can predict what it's going to do. And I can't shake the feeling that it was originally going to have much more of a presence in the movie, but
it was they kept trying to fool it by thinking about how a machine would think. So a machine wouldn't expect you to do this, so do this. That's how they were doing that.
Rewrote the script after Dead Reckoning flopped. Instead, Gabriel becomes the main antagonist, and well, there's just not much I can say about the guy. He's a generic mustache-twirling supervillain who wants to take over the world, the kind of guy you've seen a million times before. He's somehow able to throw around 30 megaton nuclear weapons like they're the kind of thing you can pick up at a hunting store, but he also thinks that he can get clear of the blast within like 15 minutes. Yeah, good luck with that one, buddy. The editing is also fucking baffling. The first 15 minutes of this weird non-chronological mess of exposition and like 3 different infiltration missions happening at the same time that feels like they tried to speedrun a much longer segment by just jamming it all together. It's weird and annoying, and it makes you question when the actual storyline is going to kick in. There's a big cast of characters in Ethan's team now, but the script doesn't seem to know what to do with most of them. Benji gets sidelined for a lot of the film, and Paris is just kind of there. Like, she's got a major beef with Gabriel because he shoved a knife into her gut, and
yeah, it's weird too. She keeps speaking French, but she knows how to speak English. I think she speaks English like once in the movie. I don't know, it's weird. Assumed
it was leading somewhere, except that it doesn't. I mean, on the plus side, Hayley Atwell is always a pleasure to see on screen, so that's something at least. If I could say anything positive about the movie, the action scenes and the stunts are still pretty impressive.
I don't think it showed any of that in the movie.
Everything they had at this one. There's a pretty inventive set piece inside the submarine as it rolls around on the seafloor, and the final fight aboard a plane was visually cool, even if it doesn't make much sense in the story. Tom Cruise is wearing well at 60, and he knows it, which is why he's shirtless for like half the film. But the thing is, it feels almost out of place now. Like maybe this would have been a good time to acknowledge that he's getting older and slowing down a little.
If he literally did every single thing in this movie, he's actually pretty fast too. I'm not talking about the running, because running is... You can't always tell how fast someone is when they're running. Trust me. I ran track, and sometimes you would watch a guy run a race, and then you run against him and you blow his doors off. He's moving quickly, but he's not really making any ground. You know what I mean? But there's certain movements he does in this. And I'm just like, oh, whoa, what was that? Okay, Tom. You know what I mean? I didn't know you had no speed like that.
Little, but nope, he's just doing his thing like it's still too.
There's one particular move in one scene. You'll know what it is.
Some kind of quasi-messiah figure who's destined to save humanity either, whether it was Tom Cruise's ego or just a misjudged script, but either way, it feels weird and self-aggrandizing. Maybe the biggest issue for me, though, is that there's no real sense of closure or finality to this one, despite the name. It's been built up as the final movie in the franchise.
I was looking at Ving Rhames in the movie, and I was like, God, he just keep getting bigger. I was like, yeah, T, it's a good thing you decided to lose some weight, because I might have been on my way to being YouTube's Ving Rhames. More meat. Like, man, he need to, tone it down. Almost down 10 pounds, y'all. Just so you know, from 256 to 248. But yeah, almost 10.
But there's really no definitive ending to it. It's really just treated like business as usual. Just another adventure, and there's nothing to suggest they won't roll out another movie in a few years. But if Final Reckoning is anything to go by, I don't know, man. Maybe they should quit while they're ahead. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. This review will self-destruct after 10 seconds. Go away now.
All right, that's what I'll do, drinker. Make sure you give to the drinker and subscribe. Tell him Tyrone Magnus sent you. Haven't seen Jeremy Johns's yet. I've just seen his, and I know I have to see Nerdrotics. But yeah, you guys know I gave it a 3 out of 5. I felt it was above average entertainment, even though I was bored in certain sections. But yeah, I would suggest that if you are a fan, check it out. 10 million subscribers. Woo!